for the third time. Let's see if we can get the great man, Todd Carney. Are you on the line?
Hey, guys. How you going?
Here he is.
He's here.
Here he is.
Here I am.
Joining the SEN League stable, and he's going to be there with a watch party with Scotty Sattler. Mate, I can't believe they've done this to you. We've tried to get you to SEN League for a while now, and the first assignment they give you is with one S. Sattler. Please.
Yeah, I done my first thing with him the other week, and it went really well. And yeah, I got a late call up last night to turn up on Sunday. So, Mr. Fix-It, here I come.
Hey, tell us about your career, Toddy. Like, just great. We're talking about it before, Socky and I. Just so great to watch, and just a natural talent. And we talked about, that strong shaminda. You want everyone to have that strong rump. But you came from Goulburn. Were you a star? And I don't want you to be humble here, but were you always a star as a kid?
No, not really. I actually talked to the boys at my school about it now, the kids I coached, that I had to work quite hard. Because when I was growing up, I played for the Goulburn Stockmen, and our team, we went through from, I think, under sixes right through to under 16s undefeated. So obviously we had some quality players, and not a lot of them went on to bigger and better things, but I was always, obviously my dad was the coach, so I was the favourite, but I had to work hard. From about 14, I started to not slow up, but obviously my old man wanted me to try and be better and get better. So I had to work really hard, and it paid off as time went on, obviously. But definitely wasn't a standout because we had a really good team. I made like the rep teams and stuff, but never a full standout because we had a really good team. So the answer to that is probably not.
Tell me, your debut was a 17-year-old, which is, these days quite young. Do you remember that time and when you were told, and who told you you were about to play first grade?
Matty Elliott, one of obviously my all-time favourite coaches because of what he delivered for me. He gave me a childhood dream, not just a debut. It was a childhood dream. I was a passionate Raiders fan from a 4-year-old since I knew what rugby league was. And yeah, I do remember the time he told me, and obviously the week of, straight away, obviously 2004, you know who you're playing, the Bulldogs, and the likes of Mason, O'Mealy, Price, Willie Talau, Willie Tonga and stuff. I'm just, as you said, a 17-year-old and not knowing where I'd play because I come off the bench, and at that time we had Mark McLinden, I think Andrew McFadden. So we had stable halves. So like it was a lucky dip where I went on, because I remember that year, the 2003 preseason, we had a trial against the Bulldogs, and I went on the centres and marked Willie Talau. So I didn't know where I was going to play. So I do remember it. I got a fair bit of game time. I still remember Mace just running at me, and every time I'd tackle him, or half tackle him as you call it, he'd get up and go, I'm going to keep coming all night. And it's funny, I see Mace all the time, and we always laugh about it, that obviously that's what rugby league is. You remember those moments, and the moments that you remember forever.
2004, I'm just doing some maths here. 2004, you make your debut, you're 17. I reckon most kids fall in love with the game or fall in love with a player when they're about 11. So that takes you back to maybe, let's call it 1998. Who was the star Raider that you were following back in those days?
As a Raiders fan growing up, obviously Ricky Stewart, Laurie Daly, Jason Croker, because he's from Crookville.
Yep.
Brett Mullins, but obviously I always loved Andrew Johns. I always loved watching him in the backyard. I was Andrew Johns or Darren Lockyer, things like that, and get to play against them, the back end of their careers was obviously special. But, yeah, as a Canberra kid, you can't go past the names of Mullins, Daly and Stewart.
Well, Giles just texted in, Todd. He said, bullshit, Todd. You were a star at 15 and 16 and ripped us up at Penrith SG Ball. So you're telling us a few furfies. But you talked about some of your illustrious career, mate. You, up against Todd Carney. You were named Rookie of the Year. You played in the grand final for the Roosters. You've won a Daily M. You played for Australia. Is there anything that sticks out in your mind over this, illustrious career that you go, wow, that was something special?
Obviously the 2010 season was a special one. After having a year off in 2009, I had a point to prove to myself, obviously to the game. And then turning up to the Roosters to be told to play fullback. And the year I had, like obviously you look back on it and you think if you had a year like 2010 every year, you wonder where you would be. But yeah, just all of it's special because obviously growing up as a Canberra Goulburn, wanting to play for the Raiders, I got to do that. And then to move on to a club like the Roosters and spend some really good years there and play some really good football, then to go into Cronulla and play with the likes of Paul Gallen. There was a big reason why I went there. So all of it was special because from a young age, all I wanted to do was play footy, and I got to do that. Obviously, we know the downfalls that I've had throughout my career, but if I always look back on it now when I talk to people about it, is yes, there was some disappointing times, but my good times outweighed the bad by a country mile. It's so yeah, it was just like for me, it was 1 was enough, 100 was crazy, and then to go on to play 200 and something professional games over two Super League and NRL was it was just really special and it was great. It was a lifelong dream, childhood dream that I lived out.
Toddy, we all know your story, and we've got no interest in going down the negative times and your career, which you play for Australia, and grand final, Dally M, all those sorts of things. But if you had to, I find that the NRL is doing a lot for players. And at the end of the day, sometimes kids, and they say the young male adult brain doesn't develop to mid-20s. What can we do? Like, are we doing enough as a game? Like, I kind of feel like we are, but what do you think?
Oh yeah, definitely, mate. I think the game is definitely doing enough. Obviously, as you said before at the start of the thing, at 17 you won't play NRL now. It's just not possible.
Yep.
Like you've got to go through exemptions and stuff like that. And while I played at 17 and I was in the dressing rooms at 16 with like the guys I just mentioned, the guys that I looked up to as a kid, for them to try and grow up and be like them at that age, I was. And then obviously with my, I guess, I don't know, just how I was probably not a great mix, and which led to a few of the things. But I think the game definitely is. Obviously, it's society. So when players do stuff up, it's around alcohol. We know that. Can you eliminate it? No, because there's only a small percentage of us that can't handle it. There's always going to be a case that comes up during pre-season, off-season, during the season. I guess the one thing I always say is when the bloke that does get in trouble, when he first has a beer, he doesn't say to himself, I'm going to go out and wreck my whole career tonight.
Yeah.
It just happens. Like it happens in the blink of an eye, and we all wake up the next morning and go, wish that never happened. Well, yes, that's right. But we still put ourselves in that position because it's what happens around the game we love. It's obviously the days of train hard, drink hard has gone and play hard, but there's still downtime. Like I'm sure the boys in Vegas would have enjoyed a night out together when they first arrived there. They'll play on Sunday night and they'll enjoy a beer together. That's what it's about.
Toddy,
if something does pop up, they're not going out to harm themselves or to harm the game. It's just a negative thing that happens. It happens in every walk of life. It happens in businesses, anywhere.
Toddy, we're so wrapped up in the show because a lot of our listeners, similar demographic to the three of us, and mate, I reckon they'd love to hear your story. And I read somewhere that you were off the source, and if that's true to be the case, mate, I'd be fascinated and love you to share the story with your listeners, how you arrived at that point, and also to how hard was that journey to get to where you are now.
Yeah, so last Saturday was my 12-month sobriety birthday.
Well done.
They call it.
Mate.
Well done, mate.
That is a great achievement.
And I can, like when my partner took me out for dinner last Friday because I was in New Zealand for that match fit game on the weekend, and I sort of didn't want to make a big fuss about it, but she sort of said to me, I want to make a fuss about it because you haven't just changed your own life, you've changed obviously hers and my two kids, because they don't have to worry about me anymore. They don't have a stress when I walk out the door to go for a beer.
Yep.
And not like I said before, I wasn't going out there to harm myself, and there was nothing going wrong, but she was scared at times. But yeah, I guess a bit over 12 months ago now, obviously I made the decision to get help. and nothing bad had happened. I just woke up one morning, and it was sort of over a period of 2 months prior to that. Every time I'd have a beer or whatever, I would wake up the next morning and wouldn't be comfortable with how I felt.
Yep.
Which led to me always being doubtful when I was going to have a beer. So I was that person that could have 6 months off it, but then 6 months and one day I was back into it drinking and carrying on. And one was never enough, and 100 was never too many.
Yep.
So that morning I woke up and I rang my partner and my sister, and my sister lives on the Gold Coast, and I just told them that I think that it's time for me to get help. And they said, "Oh, what do you mean?" Like, because obviously they sort of knew, but they wanted me to say it. And I just said, "I think it's time. I want to give up alcohol, and I feel I can do it myself, but I want to do it differently, where I've never done before. I want to check myself into rehab." So I rang around some places. I got in contact with some people that are really high up in that area, and they pointed me to a place at Gympie. So I checked in for 30 days, which could have been 3 months, depending on what the people wanted in there. If after 30 days I didn't think I was comfortable to come out, I would stay for the 3 months, which I was willing to do. My work was really good about it. So after 28 days, I had my meeting to either stay on or go home. And I guess it was a relief that, for me, I knew that if I had to stay 3 months, I was willing to do that. But it was a relief on the 28th day that one of the facilitators in there said to me, goes like, "Your challenge now is when you leave here. So we're happy for you to leave and go out there and experience it." So from then on, I had to do 90 AA meetings in 90 days, which was a challenge.
Wow.
Because I'd done AA meetings in there. But when I had to get out, I had to go on my own. I wasn't going with a group of other people. So it was a tough journey, because I guess people that are naive and stubborn around, I never thought I was an alcoholic because I wasn't a daily drinker. I was just someone that binge drank and enjoyed it too much. So for me to go in a room and sit around and say my name's Todd and I'm an alcoholic was very uncomfortable, especially when I was on my own and driving around the Gold Coast, going into AA meetings with a hat pulled down. And I just had a bloke come up to me one day and goes, "Lose the hat." He goes like, "We don't mind who you are. We're all here for the same reason, to get rid of the demon, like the dreaded thing of alcohol." And I go there and be around him instead of staying for hours on end. I leave after I'm ready and send a message to the people that are close to me that would be there and say, if you need a lift, I can happy to pick his up, and always check in on him the next morning just to make sure. Because I guess at the age of who I am and my mates are now, they see me with how I've gone in the last 12 months and how much my life's changed. They're starting to second guess themselves a little bit, and I'll never be the bloke that pushes don't drink, because I enjoy people around it. I still enjoy being around people that drink. I was just one of the small percentage that got carried away, and things happened when I drank. It was either stupid things, which was a lot of the time. So, yeah, it's been a big change. Obviously, like I said, the biggest change for me is how I am around my family, the comfortability they have with me and knowing that I can go do things, and then just obviously opportunities. Like, for instance, for me to get a radio gig, it's not by coincidence. It's because I've put myself out there to obviously spoke on James Graham's podcast, things like that, and made it vocal. Like I said, I won't push the point of people not to drink, but I'll push it to say that if you are one of the people that wakes up and you struggle with how you feel after it, like, reach out to someone. I'm happy for people to reach out to me, because it's a scary time, and the last thing I want people to do is hide behind it and then get so deep into it that it leads to mental health stuff, or it leads to them just to be continuously drinking day in, day out. So it's it's been a different journey, but something that I'm really proud of. Because 12 months ago, I didn't think I'd be sitting in the positions I am, through work and through family, and then just through obviously myself. And like I had a reflection day last Saturday after it, and when I was obviously 12 months, and I guess I gave myself a pat on the back because I deserved it, because it's been a tough journey. Like, my partner doesn't know, and people don't know around me that I still have shit days where it's like, oh, far out, I've got to read some books or stuff like that. So it was definitely wasn't easy, but the easier sides are coming because obviously I'm so open about it. Because for me, I know I'll never drink again. I will never. Yeah.
Socky, the board's lit up, and sometimes the best gifts come badly wrapped. The same I say all the time, but Toddy, what you've probably done for a lot of listeners who might have been on the precipice of thinking, you know what, if it's good enough for Todd Carney to do it, mate, you should be very proud of what you've achieved there.
Yeah, it's you know.
And that's right. Yeah, like I'm a big believer of it. Like for me, I know life is. For a little bit when I finished footy, I thought my life was not over, but like, what's next? Like, I've got a beautiful 3-year-old son now that I give everything to, and for him to experience his life now with me not being a drinker, it will change his life. And if he wants to drink when he's old enough, that's fine, but he won't be brought up around it. But yeah, for people that are listening, if you are that person, reach out to your best mate or jump on the hotline and ring someone. Just put your voice out there, because who knows, you might be sitting there in 12 months' time after listening to me today and go, you could reap the benefits, or it's not benefits, it's just life changes, because you don't have that dreaded cloud over your head from alcohol.
Yeah, well, it takes a lot of courage, Toddy, and it's great to hear someone so candid, and talk about their problems and their issues, mate. And we've got a message in from Cam. It says, Sugar, Todd's chat with James Graham a few months ago, and you mentioned it, Todd, was outstanding. I recommend to the listeners to listen. I handed to my 13-year-old set of headphones, made him listen to it, taken a lot out of it. The clean your car moment, which we won't ruin, is a beauty with Brian Smith, is one that stood out.
Yeah, the listeners got to get around that too as well. Toddy, unfortunately, we ran out of time, mate. We could have you in here for days, mate. Outstanding chat.
Yeah, no, thank you.
And we're going to get you more of it, because you are, of course, the SEN League team member now, and you've got the watch party with Scotty Sattler on Sunday to get around Vegas. Quick tip, who are you tipping to win the first two?
I said in the car, but I think Manly win and Roosters win.
Yeah, okay. All right. And what about overall for the season? Who do you see lifting the trophy?
I like Penrith again.
Wow.
Even though they didn't win the other night, I the worst away, the confidence clear he's playing with, even just that game the other night. I think he'll steer him there again. But yeah, there's some teams looking good. Obviously, Roosters have obviously now, I think with a year with the Brandon and Hooker, Keary and Walker together, I think they'll be hard to beat too. But I think it's anyone's. It's
going to be a good one. Toddy Carney, thanks for joining the Run Home with Joel and Fletch. With Socky here, and we'll hear more of you on SEN League. Enjoy Sunday, mate.
Cheers, mate. Thanks a lot.